Hey, welcome back, everyone. It's me, Mr. 4K. So, this is not going to be a review. This is just my very first impressions now that I have spent 17 hours playing Code Violet. It's not a short game. I'm still playing it, and I already put 17 hours into it. The way I'm going to do this first impression, it's going to be based on what this game is, who made it, and you should look at it not for what you wanted it to be, but you should look at it for what it is. So, what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is this is a small budget game created by Team Kill Media, which is created of 10 people. They have 10 employees. I think some of them are brothers, from what I heard. And it's a small studio combined of 10 people. Okay. So now, what does that mean? That means it's a small budget studio with only 10 people. They don't have the resources as, let's say, Capcom or Naughty Dog or Sucker Punch, or I mean all these bigger studios out there, of course, right? Or what's that other one that's creating a Spider-Man and Wolverine, right? I forgot the name of that studio, but you catch my drift. It's a small studio, right? And you have to look at it for what it is, not for what you expected it to be. And that's my whole take going into this game. When I was streaming, when I was playing it, I was like, I have to look at this game from that perspective, not from perspective of like, ooh, I need to put this and compare this with a AAA games like Spider-Man, Miles Morales, or The Last of Us, Naughty Dog. You know, I just can't do that. It's just wouldn't be fair. But the problem is when you look at IGN, GameSpot, and Gaming Bolt, and all these other reviewers, they're really treating this game as if it's some sort of a AAA game. They're trying to compare it in a same AAA department with all the other AAA games. If that was the case, then yeah, sure. Then I can understand their criticism, but their criticism, it's so unlegitimate and unfair and ridiculous because they're comparing apples with oranges or watermelon with oranges. And that's where I disagree with these reviews. All right. So let's get back to my first impressions. Now that I got that out of the way, so you guys understand that this studio, Team Kill Media, it's a small studio combined of 10 people, okay? A small budget. Yes, I know it's a PlayStation exclusive, but Sony didn't give them the resources. It's not like Sony gave them here's like a $50 million dollars, or, go with a 50 million. If they gave them $50 million dollars, okay, then they could work with that and do something with that. And if they gave them resources, motion capture, etc., etc., or if they, gave them a composer like a Hans Zimmer or something, sure, then this could be, of course, in a AAA quality like Spider-Man or Wolverine, etc., etc. So let's just clarify that. Let's just kind of put that in perspective. Me going into this game, I knew that this is a small budget game. But ever since they announced this game, there was something appealing to me about it. For the same reason the Mind's Eye was appealing to me. What was appealing to me about the Code Violet was this urge for Dino Crisis. I used to play Dino Crisis 1 and Dino Crisis 2. So this is really almost like a love letter for those of us who loved Dino Crisis. And my God, I remember playing Dino Crisis 1 and Dino Crisis 2 back in the days. And this is really a love letter if you love Dino Crisis 1 and Dino Crisis 2. Dinosaurs are scary and they're smart. These raptors are not like some generic raptors. They're really scary and they're really smart. I can show you some of the photos and some of the stills that I took a photo of. We can do that right now. I'm just going to go over here really quick. And we're going to go there. And I'm going to actually go through some of these really quick here. Okay. We'll start right here. Okay, this is where I start in the beginning. Now, you can remove a letterbox and a widescreen, and if you want to have a full screen, like an IMAX full screen version, you have that. You can also remove the film grain, so you do have options on that. You also have a option of a photo mode to take photos, and there's tons of customizations on your weapons. And of course, tons of outfits that you can unlock later on in the game. They have plenty of outfits, and some of the outfits are, provocative and erotic and sexy. But, that's just part of the choices that they give you with this game for $50, which is not a bad deal. So I got some trophies here that I won as I was going through the game. In the beginning of the game, when you start the game, you're basically waking up in this facility and you have no idea what's going on, right? And that's really where the story kind of takes off for me. That's where the story really kicks in, is this quote of, "Do you remember me?" Like, she is clueless to what has happened to her, who she is. Like, it's a more of a self-identity game, like her trying to remember who she is. And like, that is the essence of this game, her waking up and trying to remember who she is, and trying to find the truth. And that's really what you're doing. Imagine like waking up in some sort of a capsule, and it's a chaos, and it's frightening, and there's all kinds of weird things happening, and you got dinosaurs, raptors running around, T-Rexes running around, and you're like, what the heck is going on, right? So she's like in this, almost waking up in a nightmare, but it's a reality, and she needs to find out who she is. And slowly, as she is awakened out of this capsule, she's starting to discover about some flashbacks about who she is. Her memories kind of coming back, almost like Total Recall, like, with that movie with Arnold, Total Recall, where slowly he's starting to remember who he is. And I don't want to spoil too much of the story for you guys here, because I want you to play the game. But there is a very intriguing story in this game. All right. So there's me with a different outfits. And there's also these raptors. Now, these dinosaurs, I will spoil this for just a brief a minute. These dinosaurs are hybrid dinosaurs. They're basically created. Just like, in a Jurassic Park, they're created. So these dinosaurs are created, but they're in the space. But we don't know where in the space we are. Are we on some sort of a giant ship? And this giant ship has these domes built into it where these dinosaurs are, right? I don't know yet because I didn't get there. As you can see, there's also these raptors, and these raptors are smart. Like when she checks the feedback of the camera, you can see that these dinosaurs are very smart. That's because they're hybrid. They're genetically engineered dinosaurs, and they're very smart. And you can see that, like when you play throughout the game, and if you look at my live streams, you can see how smart these dinosaurs are. Like in one instance, when I killed one of the raptors, the other raptor came around, was waiting for me at the door to open the door, and it just got me. And there's many instances like that. Another thing about this game, besides the intriguing story, which I don't want to spoil here, it's just a first impression. I will talk about the spoiler of the story in a full review. But what's also interesting about this game, besides the story, which is very intriguing, is the fact that the audio is the atmosphere and audio in this game. It is as good as Alien Isolation. Like when these raptors' footsteps are going, and you hear them, and you can hear them coming in, marching towards you. It's very scary. But the scariest, besides the raptors, are the T-Rex. Hearing the T-Rex footsteps, those deep bass footsteps, and then that eerie noise that the T-Rex made, that we all remember. There's moments with a T-Rex it's really, really scary. So this game is certainly scary. It's not like that it's not. It certainly is scary. There's moments where you are really terrified because of the atmosphere. I think they've done a great job with the atmosphere, where they showcase the atmosphere in the audio. Through the audio, they really kind of showcase that really good. And to me, that was a really nice touch. Okay. And these are some of the photos that I took. What's interesting about this game is you think you're on the ship, but you still don't know, right? This could be a giant ship, right? That's like a size of a Manhattan, and they have built all of these, vegetations and domes for the dinosaurs, like a park domes for the dinosaurs to exist. What better place for dinosaurs than to be in a space, safe from Earth? Like making genetically engineering dinosaurs on a planet Earth, it's a bad idea, because if they break out, well, then that's it. Life finds the way. But in a space, right? Well, they're in a space. That's different. So they're far away from the Earth. Now, that's what's going on in this game. But why is that happening? Who is the person behind this? Who is the person responsible for not only genetically engineering these dinosaurs, but also creating these genetically engineered hybrid humans? And she supposedly happens to be one of those hybrid humans. And they're being told this lie that the Earth has no life anymore, that the Earth it's full of radiation, and there's like this apocalypse that happened there, and we have to run away. And so, but that's the intriguing part of the story for me so far, and that's what keeps you pushing, right? So you can find out more about what happens in the story. Okay. And there's moments in this game in terms of a design where it's like really reminded me of Resident Evil and Dino Crisis. There's certainly Dino Crisis inspiration here. You can tell that developers of this game were inspired by Dino Crisis 1 and Dino Crisis 2. But there's also a Resident Evil theme here. There's certainly a Capcom atmosphere and the theme here. So if you love like Capcom, Resident Evil, especially Dino Crisis 1 and 2, I think this will be right up your alley. I think you will enjoy it. All right, now that I have talked about about the video game and my first impressions, and that I spent 15 minutes like explaining, what this game is. It's a low budget game created by a small studio of 10 people. Now that you understand that, And now that you have maybe a little bit of a better feedback understanding of the intriguing story of this game, I want to talk about the gameplay. The gameplay, it's not that bad. You know, a lot of people were complaining about the gameplay. I have no issues with the gameplay. I can crouch, I can stand up, I can, move my weapons, freely left and right. It takes some time in the beginning for you to get used to the inventory, get used to the map, to orient yourself with the map and how to use the controls, just like with any game. Like every game has its own unique mechanics and controls, layout of the controls. So just like with this game, in the beginning, you have to get used to it. And they do have tutorials where you can read the tutorials, and tutorials explain to you exactly what controls you need to use. Here, I can show you the tutorials. Tutorials are like right here. Like if I click start, if I go to the tutorials are right here, and you will see it. Okay. So these are the basics. Tells you how to use the weapons, inventory, map, crafting, stealth, puzzles, status effect. So it's all here, right? And explained to you. And you can read it, which is a nice touch, right? But you have to get used to it first, just like with any game. They do have a soundtrack as well here, which you can listen to if you want to. So, I want to talk about, besides the gameplay, which I already have mentioned, the gameplay, it's good. Okay, and people gotta understand it's a low budget game. So the gameplay for a low budget game, it's pretty decent. It's pretty good, actually, honestly. The only issue that this game has is the bugs. If the bugs are not present, then I can understand, why some people. What I'm trying to say is, I understand why some people are critical of this game because of the bugs, but find me a game that doesn't have a bug. There's so many games out there nowadays, even AAA games with bugs. They did patch this game up. They do have patches right here. I'll show you. I mean, they did patch it up. They have different patches, okay? There's various different patches that they have actually released in the game. So they do have patches. What happened to me was in the beginning of the game, when I started the game, when I started the live stream, the game didn't download the updates yet. The updates were still being downloaded in the background. So I started the game with like a bare default minimum default game that was buggy. So that's why in the beginning of the live stream I had issues with this game. But that's because I didn't wait for the patches to download. There was like an extra 11 gigabytes of patches to be downloaded and updated, which comes to a total of 31 gigabytes. So what I basically had to do, I had to like restart the game and wait for the downloads to be finished and then for the patches to be kicked in. And once the patches were kicked in, once they were implemented, then it was a smooth ride for like 8 hours. I mean, the stream, it's about 9 hours and 34 minutes in the beginning, the part one. But throughout 8 hours of that stream in the beginning, the part one, I had no issues. It's all there. It's documented on my live stream. You can go watch it. It's not just me saying this. Actually, you can go watch my stream, part one and part two, and you will see for yourself. That is, if you don't believe me. It's all there. So I had no issues. So what I'm trying to say, The patches are good. They're working. It's not like uh, these patches um, didn't do the job. They did do the job, okay? They certainly have done the job. Um, and as far as the bugs are not consistent, all right? That's another thing I was trying to say. So I'm sorry if I'm stumbling on my words. It's kind of early in the morning. I'm still getting my coffee. Okay? I'm not one of those guys that prepares the notes because I don't want to do that. I want to tell you exactly how I feel about the game, without any notes. I don't want it to be generic. I believe if I'm taking the notes, then it has to be generic. It'll be generic. I want to speak from experience, man. That's how I review things. There's a poor guy, raptor that I killed in the game. The graphics, well, actually, let's take a step back before I talk about the graphics. Um, let's talk about the bugs for a brief minute. What I'm trying to say is this. Yes, there's bugs, but they're not consistent bugs. And what I mean by that is it's not like there's bugs every 5 to 10 minutes in the game. All right. I had to deal with the bugs in the beginning, but that's actually my fault because I didn't wait for the patches to download to update. So that was on my end. That was my fault. Okay, that's not the game's fault. That's my fault because I should have waited for the patches to download and update. Um, the only time that I had bugs and that the game crashed was at the tower, the antennas, where you have to relay the antennas and you have to align the relays of these antennas and satellites on the roof. But that was like 16 hours later. So my game crashed after 16 hours. I didn't encounter any bugs till after 16 hours. And the game crashed after 16 hours. So that's pretty darn good, guys. What I'm trying to tell you, that's pretty darn good. That I didn't encounter any bugs till after 16 hours. 16 hours, man, that's not bad. Now, if the bugs were consistent, and this is what I was telling my friend Shuki, if the bugs were consistent, and there was a consistency with the bugs, and the bugs was like happening every 5 to 10 minutes, then that would be annoying and it would be unplayable, right? Nobody wants to play a game having to experience bugs in a consistent 5 to 10 minutes, right? That would be very annoying. Nobody would want to play that type of a game. But that's not the case. I didn't have bugs every 5 to 10 minutes. That wasn't the case. Okay. Most of the time, everything was a smooth ride. And again, for those of you who don't believe me, well, that's why we have live streams. Those live streams are there, and they're very long. The first one, it's 9 hours and 34 minutes. The second one is like close to 7 hours. So it's all there for you to see. So it's not just like me telling you this. It's something that I can back it up with, credibility and proof and evidence. Okay, that is if you really want to know. And why am I telling you all of this? I'm telling you this because I feel that this game has been torn apart and shredded into pieces unfairly for no good reason. From IGN, GameSpot, and Gaming Bolt. And I can see why the developers are upset. Because they're like, what do you expect us to do, man? We're small budget, small company, combined of 10 people. What do you expect us to do? To create something great? Even Jim Cameron cannot make a big, giant, great movie like Avatar without resources. Even Spielberg cannot make a great, big, giant. Even Christopher Nolan cannot do it without the resources. So this is the problem that I have with these so-called gaming journalists. they're comparing a low budget game to a AAA game, which is just ridiculous. And that's my whole point in the beginning that I was trying to emphasize. And I totally understand. Oh, this is funny, by the way. By the way, these dinosaurs are very smart. And sometimes I felt bad, like, killing them in a game, because they're very intelligent. You know, these are not like some generic dinosaurs like in Dino Crisis. They're just like generic. These dinosaurs are very intelligent, and you can see that like when you are playing the game. And you will notice that as well. Same thing with the T-Rex, very highly intelligent. And even here, I really felt bad for them. All right, so these are some of the photos that I took. So let's talk about the graphics really quick. So the gameplay, it's good. As long as there's no bugs, I have no issue with the gameplay. The gameplay runs smooth. The atmosphere of the game, it is scary. Especially if you got like good headsets, good headphones, 3D audio, or if you got like a home theater setup. Believe me, this game is scary. The use of the haptic feedback and adaptive triggers is really good. Especially when she's walking, you can feel her footsteps. Poop, poop, poop. Same thing with the raptors. Same thing with T-Rex. And the adaptive triggers on the different weapons have a different effect. So the use of the control has been done really well. I have no issues with that. Okay, so the gameplay is good. I have no issues with the gameplay. The atmosphere, the audio is good. The story, it's intriguing. Honestly, story is good. It's intriguing so far. The graphics, look, it's Unreal Engine 5, and considering it's a low budget game, and considering it's made out of 10 people, look, man, what do you expect them to do? You know, they're small. They're small studio with 10 people, and I don't know what people expect them to do with the graphics. I think the graphics are good, honestly, for what they are. There's instances in this game where the graphics are really good, you know, depending where you are in the game. But at the same time, I have no issues with the graphics. The graphics are fine for a low budget game. And actually the detail of Code Violet is good. Like you can definitely sense that there's a soul in this character. Like there's, you know, that she's not like some generic character, as some people like to, you know, or some sex symbol, like some people like to emphasize. Actually, you do feel for her because, you know, she met this guy, Jason, in the facility, and he's been trying to help her, and she finally felt love, and she never felt love before. And she yearns for that like any human would. So there's definitely a soul in this game. You know, it's not like these are generic characters, they have no soul. Granted, it's not a motion capture, you know, unlike those AAA studio games. But considering it's a small studio, they have no resources like a motion capture. They cannot hire actors to do motion capture. I think they've done a pretty phenomenal job, considering it's only 10 guys working in a studio. Now, this is not a review. This is just me giving you a first impressions. And I know it's a 30-minute video with the first impressions, but I hope that this first impression half an hour and my part 1 and part 2 live stream, make sure you guys tune in for the part 3 live stream later on tonight in the evening. I hope that these live streams and this video and my final review video, which most likely Friday or Saturday, depending when I finish the game, will be available. So I'll talk more in detail. Hopefully that all of this gives you a better perspective on Code Violet, instead of you just listening to you know, the journalists, gaming, so-called gaming journalists, shredding this game into pieces. Like, don't get caught up in the Metacritics and the critics and Gaming Bolt and IGN and GameSpot. I mean, they're totally unfair because they're comparing this to a AAA game. Like, come on, man. It's like comparing a low-budget movie to an Avatar, which is ridiculous. Like, or comparing a low-budget movie to a Mission Impossible. Come on. Like, let's just... this is not like Jerry Bruckheimer production. You know, it's like comparing a Jerry Bruckheimer production producer movie with, like, let's say a low-budget movie. It's like, so just let's be reasonable here when we're reviewing this game. And that's what I want. That's what I said earlier in the beginning of this video. You have to review the games based on what they are, not based on what you wanted them to be. Okay. Same thing with RoboCop. RoboCop didn't have any motion capture. Same thing. Same thing with RoboCop. Didn't have any motion capture, but it was a great game. You know. It was great. I still enjoyed it. It was created by a small budget, small studio, right? So same thing here. You know what I mean? And we have to look at these games based on what they are, not based on what we wanted it to be. Not every game is going to be AAA. And that's okay. I have played low-budget games. As a matter of fact, recently I've played a game on Netflix. You know, it was a very simple game, very low budget, but it was amazing experience, great storytelling, great character development. So it's not all about AAA, $100 million, you know, motion capture, Naughty Dog, Sucker Punch, right? And all these other big giant studios like Santa Monica Studios, right? Or Kojima Production. It's about reviewing a game, looking at the game based on what it is, not based on what you wanted it to be. So I hope that this 32-minute video gives you a better look into my first impression of Code Violet, and hopefully this helps. Now, if you want more info, if you would like to know more, then make sure you watch my live stream part 1 and live stream part 2. They're already out. You can go watch it. And also make sure you tune in tonight for the part 3, which will be available tonight, part 3, Monday night, 7 p.m. Okay? Thank you for watching, and please leave a comment and let me know what you think. Thank you.